I have decent audio monitoring and control via software, including a monitor, which is that's something that like matters to me. I want to be able to hear myself. Um, so let's bring in Spotify and see if we break that. Okay. Looks like that's good. All right. Anyway, here's where we're at. Let's bring in TikTok to the party. And now TikTok's here. All right, there we go. This guy over there so I can see. And I think we're good. I think we're all right. All right. So you'll see I'm starting on pause, and that matters. So here's my thing. I added, of course, because I can't help myself, and I'm a glutton for punishment. I added a new mod to the build that I think is going to make things a little more interesting. And I think it's more my style. I think it adds to the style of things. So elephant in the room first. I said I added a new audio layout. It's new to me. I haven't played with it much at all. I got it yesterday. I set it up this morning, and I'm trying to get through it and kind of learn what I need to learn about it, and play with it and find the settings that I really like. So it's gonna be a minute. Ideally, I sound better. Ideally, I sound more clear and have more control over the finer points of my stream. But I won't really know until I watch back, and that's gonna be later on today or tomorrow. So yeah, my plan is to stream again tomorrow. Hopefully I can watch and review and figure out what I need to change, and then kind of go from there. I do want to take a look at my camera before we get too deep into actually building, because I also added an additional, there we go. We added an additional light. So now I have lights in both positions, plus I have another desk light right here. So I just want to make sure that my camera is kind of set up the way that I want it. I think I like that better. I think. Although now it seems, yeah, okay, I was gonna say, it didn't seem like my frame rate was right, but I think that's good. Ooh, nope, not that. There we go. Yeah, I think that's good. Okay, I like that. All right. Anyway, let's do it. So here's kind of where my thought is on in terms of where I wanna take today. So, like I said, I added a new mod. It's called City Voice. So the idea of it adds a little bit of a roleplay element. I know that's super shocking. Adds a little bit of a roleplay element to City Skylines. So it takes our city stats, which is displayed here in the top, and adds in a like proposals and various other types of things. I'll get social media, I'll get news outlet reporting and all kinds of stuff based on these stats up here. So just looking at it without anything else, if we go into it right now, you can see that there is an election that's going to happen. We currently don't have a mayor. We're going to get one. And we have urgent issues that we need to handle right now. At the moment, we don't have any active projects, so we have to accept a proposal first. And there is an election underway, and we can actually endorse candidates. So Stephen Warwick, Kevin Sharp, and Jonathan Robinson are currently all running. Jonathan Robinson is currently in the lead, followed closely by Stephen Warwick. So we can kind of influence the election. We as the, I I don't know what they would consider us, the city developer, the comptroller, something like that, the city engineer. We have about 10% worth of influence. So when we endorse someone, like specifically in this, if we endorse Warwick, we are probably going to swing the election towards him because we have enough influence. And then we have city stats that'll kind of just give us, this is giving us the same information we have up here. Just to kind of give an idea of what we should be looking at with this. So again, it's a beta mod. I think it's really neat. I wanted to start pause though, because we're immediately going to have proposals that we need to kind of look at, figure out, and adjust based on, you know, what we're doing, if that makes sense, based on what we're seeing. So yeah, that's kind of where I'm looking at right now. I want to first go through these proposals and figure out what we're going to do. I'm going to go ahead and unpause. So now we have, now that I've explained it, we can just do it live. So there is currently a homeless crisis because with 18 homeless citizens on the street. So in terms of homeless, what that actually equates to, we need this. We have 0.1% homeless. Now, my initial thought is we're probably going to reject this, right? But it's going up. We're seeing more homeless citizens, which means we need more housing. So we can do these two things and probably solve it. Just by adding more residency. So that's something to consider. They want more medium density and they want more high density. In all, they want more housing. We also want a new hospital, which is interesting. They're concerned about healthcare access. So if we look at healthcare access and where we're at, we have a pretty decent coverage rate until we get over to here. And the reason that this is happening is because we built this road. Now, I don't know that I necessarily want to put a hospital just over here to cover these areas, or a clinic in any way. I don't know. We'll have to look at that. And then they want a new suburb. This was already on my my radar as to something I wanted to do. So this is probably going to be a thing. Major projects. Citizens want a better trade infrastructure to grow the city's economy and open up new markets. Now, this is interesting. We are already outputting a ton of electricity, a ton of it. So the idea would be we are only exporting in one location. So what they are proposing, at least my idea, would be currently we are exporting, I believe, out here. Yeah, right here is where the line is. Right? So the line goes this way and comes in and attaches to our city. I believe it goes down here and then goes underground and attaches into our incineration plant, and then ultimately our geothermal. So these two things are sort of connected. So we're exporting right here. We currently don't have any other outside connections available to us, because this is what's kind of there by default. So what we would have to do to satisfy this requirement is buy tiles until we get to the edge of the map, which is right here, right here, right here, or right here. We are extremely far away from all of those, or use anarchy to do it. If we do this, we are going to increase our budget by an insane amount. Like, we're already exporting a ton of electricity and a little bit of water. Like, I mean, a ton of it. If we add in another, we will get better. There will be more, but you know, hey Loki, what's up, man? But yeah, that's kind of where we're in an interesting spot with this specific proposal. So let's look at what our election could be and pick a candidate to endorse. So this individual wants public safety, wants to focus on public safety. Now, we already have a pretty decent public safety footprint. If we look at our police coverage, again, this specific area is kind of where we're hurting. You can see we do have a car out here, but Is it worth considering upgrading this police station to a police headquarters? Maybe. Adding either of these doesn't... Oh, no, we do. So another investigative team building would give us 4 more cars. Currently, we have 11 cars in use. Now, if we were to go and do a police headquarters, you're looking at... I mean, the urban has 10. Just about all the other ones are well above that. Most of them are 20. So that would basically require us to move our police headquarters, whether it be downtown somewhere or even into our suburb. So I'm thinking that what we need to do is probably consider redeveloping this area right here into a more dedicated city expansion, so that downtown kind of extends down into this area, so increasing density and maybe reworking some of our roadway layout. And maybe we build that around a new police headquarters. I like the idea of endorsing Jonathan Robinson because I don't think that healthcare is really in the cards. If we were to add healthcare, it would be over here, putting some clinic in this area. And keeping in mind, we already have a major hospital here working. No upgrades on that, though. But it does have a medical helicopter, if I'm not mistaken. So... yeah, it does have a helicopter, so it's got pretty wide reach. If we add something right here, especially somewhere in here or close to this bridge, off of the main drag, definitely. We don't want to put it on Crosstown Boulevard. But if we do it somewhere in here, it will probably satisfy our need out here. So we could swing the election towards Warwick, but I don't think that's the case. And education, we do need elementary availability. There's just no two ways about it. But I don't think that Kevin Sharp is in the running. Frankly, I don't think he's got it. So that's where we're at. We need to make a decision on that first. And I'm leaning towards Jonathan Robinson. He's already the front runner. If we add him in, we're going to have to address public safety, and I was already sort of considering doing a redevelopment of this particular area anyway, which will lead us to an increase in density and give us room to expand in a police headquarters. So I think we're going to endorse Jonathan. So the election is currently in progress. We're 9%, so we'll let this roll and see how it goes. In the meantime, we are going to address some of this and sort of redevelop in here, and we'll accept medium density and high density, and that's what we're going to start on. So let me turn off Civic Voice here, and you'll see there's going to be pop-ups right here along the bottom that will give us an idea of where things are. It's going to be like a news article. It'll pop up. So just looking at our current roadway layout, which is kind of a little bit ridiculous. The idea was so that we don't create a straight through way right here. I think we need to reconsider that. And what we're going to do that is we're going to eliminate 100% of these homes. Let's pause that so I don't lose all my stuff. Oop, shit. All the way down here. And initially I had done it so that I didn't have this direct connection. We are now going to have that direct connection. But I also want to... Actually, you know what I'm going to do? Let me swap to the area tool and only target housing. And let's just wipe out. Oh, I didn't want to do that. I was hoping it wouldn't, and it didn't seem like it was going to, and that did. Can I do props too? Does props take it out? What takes out? Nothing. None of those take out the... Oh, there it is. So yeah, it's props. Okay. Let's just remove all of this for now. To be fair, we are probably going to need to redo that elementary school anyway. We do need to consider bike lanes as well while we're doing this. Just we need to think about that. So now let's remove a bunch of these roads and kind of reconfigure the entirety of this neighborhood and make it make a little more sense from an urban capacity rather than a suburban capacity. So we need to turn on topography so we can see where we're at. Now you can see we did some pretty terrible things to the landscape here, so let's fix that. I think we can kind of develop around this. I think. So I want to reconfigure this whole roadway. I still want that intersection to be where it is, but I want it to be more straight. Roughly where it is. It doesn't have to be exact, but I think we were right here. I would definitely want a 90-degree angle here, though. But I don't want to remove that business if I can avoid it. There we go. And then, rather than get into a curvature situation with our roadways, I'm going to kind of keep these more straight. And let me turn off a bunch of my snapping. We'll curve this road right into there. And then the next piece I want it to come in right here. Now what's this hill actually looks like? It's somewhat extreme actually. So I think what I'm gonna do, let me grab my flattened terrain tool. I'm gonna grab right here. And I'm going to bring this hill just kind of a little bit further up. And you can kind of see we have this highway already somewhat being affected by the hillside. So I think now I'm going to smooth this out just a little bit more to readjust some of this height. All right, so now we want to maintain this this intersection as well at 180 degrees. Okay. And I think that we're okay to kind of just keep going. Okay. Now I want to be cognizant of where this can go and not interfere with the highway, while also keeping in mind that we don't want housing all the way up against here. And let's grid this out now. And then we should be able to kind of merge these two roadways. Although, it's not bad. I like that. Okay, let's grid this out. So we'll keep with our standard grid, which I believe was 114 by 227, I think. Which will bring us out, basically, if I snap onto the zoning cell length, I can get to here, that's 114, and then we go to 227. Snapping on all kinds of stuff, but none of it that I actually need, which is right there. And that's our grid. And then we do need to create an intersection right here. This is going to be a thing that we're going to do. We're just going to remove all of the everything. We can sort of already see where this is going to come, right? Like, we're going to go this way. So what I think I want to do is we're going to make this an arterial by grabbing this road here, making it a medium density road. Try and lock on right dead center to center of that road and bring this out. So we're gonna have to, looks like we have to remove some stuff. What is that? Oh, it's a signature building. It's the gas station. Okay. So let me relocate this. It shouldn't cost us anything. Right here makes somewhat sense, but I don't know that I like it there. Right there works for now. And then let's bring this and make this an arterial road. Although it really makes more sense for it to come from right here. But that intersection is going to be fucking wild. So I'm thinking here, I'm wondering if I redo this area as well and bring this in to be more of a straight connection. I wonder if I could make it get to here. Since we're reworking, let's rework it. Let's make it make as much sense as we possibly can. Something in the way. Oh, it's this. Okay. We will relocate this because I know that this is going to need to stay. It's our cell phone tower. And so I think we might be able to do that. Are we getting another signature building here? Yeah, there must be something in there. All right, let me remove that and that. I want to straighten this out. So let's go ahead and let's just cause as much homelessness as possible by eliminating all of this, and we'll rework it all. Basically from the entrance to the city on. And I want to make sure that this ends up being straight with the parallel with the railroad. Okay. Which would bring us right into here. And then I think, if I can, I'd like to have this intersection kind of be right here. So if I bring this out at a 90-degree angle and connect it in like that. And this is where we can connect in an arterial going this direction. Okay. And then this is going to be an arterial as well, so let's go ahead and upgrade this. This is actually more of a collector, but because we're connecting to a highway, I guess this is going to be the collector, and this would be a collector. This is going to be the arterial. Well, no, this would be because we're getting a freeway here, so this would also be considered an arterial. And this is going to be the collector mostly. I'm going to remove that again, and just make sure that this is positioned the way that I want it to be. Tell you what I don't like. I don't like what we have going on right here. So let me remove all this again. What's up? See, I have this light here? Yeah. For his what? Okay, hold on one second. Hold on, chat. Let me swap cameras to this. Okay, good. think what I'd like to do is figure out a way for this road to come in here. Now realizing that I'm on pause. Let's unpause that. Okay, so I think what I'd like to do is get it to the point where we're like right over here. I think actually, you know what I think I'd like? So you can see now we have an urgent proposal to get more jobs. We're going to work on that. I think I'd like it to come in right there. So we'll just have to readjust a bunch of these roads, but that's okay. We can do that. So let's go ahead and we'll accept that proposal. So that's added to our active proposals. Now we have to act on it. So that's an easy thing to do. We can do that. Okay. And then we need to find our 227. I'm going to snap on here. Which is right here. And then we'll leave that block half finished. And then for here, we'll do the same thing. We're going to start right here, come out to 114, come to 227, and down. And then ideally, I think I can do that. I think with network tools, I can make this happen if we supernode. I picked up Roadcraft, checking that out. Similar to Spin. I have no idea what that is, Joker. As long as you're happy, bud. What's up, Diddley? What's going on, man? How we doing, everybody? Hope your Sunday's going well. What Joker? What is that? What kind of a? I mean, it sounds like it's like a racing or like. Is it something like what's that? Mud Runner? Is that a game that exists? Is that a thing that's real? Or did I make that up? Okay, I like that. And then I think I want to do, I got Roadcraft as well. Only played for a few hours. Seemed okay, but not sure if it's for me. Start felt too much on a guideline, like do this, then go to do that. Yeah, those, I mean, tutorials are an easy way to get turned off for a game if a developer's not careful. Like, I'm the same way. Like, I don't necessarily like I like being handheld if the game and mechanics are not, like, super intuitive. But more often than not, like, I can find my way. I don't need you telling me how to play your game. I don't know if I like this. It's creating a lot. It's creating a lot. Let's just finish the grid out, and then we can find the natural place for another arterial to appear. Like, for instance, we can use this road. but that is going to adjust which grid takes priority. It will be this one now. And then we do need to, before I get too much further into this and we start losing buildings, this needs to be connected. No, I don't know how I want to do that. I guess like that for now. That'll at least get them service again, but I don't know that I love that. Roadcraft is pretty much you're in charge of your own company that uses vehicles to go to areas where a natural disaster or something's happening. You go to fix the roads. Oh. Interesting. Now that, not gonna lie, that sounds like it might be up my alley. Oh, I can't say I've heard of that game. You know what we're doing wrong here? I know we have to change some stuff. This is a really unique area to build in. Like, this is really something. So I think what I'm going to do, I'm going to remove this connection and that connection, and we're just going to build off of this arterial right here. Roads are cheap. And I want to do it right because we've already made a bunch of people homeless because of this. So like, let's do it right. I think out to here, and then we grid off of this. On top of that, you can play multiplayer where there's... Oh, that's kind of cool. I saw that, interestingly, mentioning multiplayer, I saw that someone came out with a multiplayer option for cities where you can connect your Cities 2 builds to your friends' builds, which is kind of interesting. SimCity tried to do that a long time ago, and it failed fucking miserably. It was so god-awful. But that's mainly because the city size was so small, and it was the first it was the first instance of a DRM. I fucked this up. Sure did. I put that in the wrong fucking place. Yeah, and that was the idea of the initial SimCity developed aspect of it. Like you need your friends to help you was the idea, and it didn't hit the way I think that they expected it to because of DRM, and at the time it wasn't like super it wasn't super prominent. Like everybody pretty much had the internet whenever SimCity came out. This is the one that, like, the remake or whatever. I don't even know what its official name. I don't know if they changed it to make more sense. I don't know, but it came out a while ago. And it just wasn't. I don't think they expected it to be so poorly received. And now, DRM is just. It's such common practice that it would be very unusual for you to get a game that isn't constant, like requiring constant connection. Which is kind of funny to think about it that way, like people shit on that game because it needed a constant internet connection, and now that's just so commonplace. Like, you would never think to. You know what I mean? Right, exactly. And then you can set up different trade networks and have it be, something that's mutually beneficial. Like, having a county actually be a county, which would be kind of really neat. Like, oh, so my area, I'm going to focus on building industry. Why don't you focus on building commercial, and then we can share whatever. You know what I mean? Like there's a lot of different ways that you can sort of build together and collaborate and make things that would support, you know, the entirety of a region. You know what I mean? Like that would be kind of neat. And like I said, SimCity did it. It was just gamers weren't ready to say, I don't want to have to play this game and require an internet connection. And like, again, now that's so commonplace. Like it just exists. It's how it is, you know? Okay, I could go back to my camera. That's just how it is. Like it's almost natural. You know, we've just accepted that the internet is a requirement to play games. But at the time, that was so just universally frowned upon. So I'm looking here. I'm going to remove everything from this line on. And we're going to develop this a little bit differently. I just don't know how we're going to do it yet. We're going to upgrade this road to be medium density. Because we're going to connect this right into the highway right here. Yeah. That's how we're going to do it. I like that. Now remember, the purpose of this was to find a way, I don't love that, was to find a way to incorporate a police station. So that's got to be on the agenda. I have to keep that in mind as I'm building this out. To plan out where are we going to have a police station. We need to have some kind of campus for a police headquarters. Imagine being real life. You live there. Oh, you need that road? Don't worry, we'll build a bigger road soon-ish. Yeah, like if your budget doesn't, like I would love to help you, but my budget doesn't support building that road yet. So if you want to fund it entirely, okay, but we're not giving up our land to you exclusively. Like we still need access to the road. You know what I mean? Like there's just so many intricacies that could really be kind of neat. I need to figure this section out, and I don't know it yet. I need to look at it here momentarily. This too. And I don't know that I want to connect in right here either. I think I'm not going to do that. So we can reduce this road. Yeah, oh yeah, I'm redoing everything that I'm just, whatever. See, that's the thing about City Skylines. Roads are the cheapest thing to build. So you can iterate and iterate and iterate in cities and really not see any ill consequence. Because they're so cheap to build. So now we need to figure out how are we getting over this direction, right? So I like that this is a straightaway. But I need to have a connection right here. And I'm wondering if this road right here isn't it. And then we just do this right at a right angle. We don't want it to connect into here, although we could, I suppose, connect right in. Gives us another inlet. Although this is going to get fucked here in a minute. Like, it's going to be very, very bad. This connection here would make more sense. No, I don't love this. I don't like this idea. We'll do an eyebrow there. Now, there's not a whole lot I can do right here, so I think we could probably turn this into maybe a smaller residential community, maybe. No, I don't love that. I don't love this either. I don't know what to do up here yet. All right, so let's start zoning in a little bit, because we can do our commercial zoning right now, which was what they wanted, right? That was our urgent proposal. Medium density and high density housing. Okay, so let's start working on that. So for high density, let's grab our southwest high density. We're going to zone in like this. Actually, before we do that, let's control some zoning. I don't want anything on our side streets. On the inside. This is okay. I'm okay with this back here. In fact, so much so that I'm going to remove these to get the zoning appropriate, so that we're getting this fronting. Now we are going to put some high density on these main kind of thoroughfares through the city. I'm just going to go through and kind of lay a couple of these buildings out. And do some medium density as well. And I also we need to be sure that we're focusing on parking also. Okay, let's do in some parking. Now this I could see being on one of these main roads, because we're going to have so much commercial right here. So let's do some commercial now. And we'll do mixed use for now and use a combination of Southwest and Urban Promenade. You can see we're basically completely out of demand right now, so we just kind of need to let that build back up, while also thinking about where are we going to put a low-density residential neighborhood. We have this right here, and I think continuing this kind of over to this area is fine. These finger hills are just, they are such a pain in the ass to build around or on. When in doubt, place a roundabout. I mean, it's fault. You're not wrong. I think I could probably do this area better. I also want to think about how we're going to build out our bike infrastructure, because we have to continue with our biking. So I need to look at that. In the meantime, we can do some low density residential right here. Hold on, chat, just give me 1 second. My wife just texted me. It sounds like she might have to stay and work late. And we are planning on going to dinner tonight as a family. So I'm trying to figure out the logistics of what that looks like now. That sucks. She's been getting absolutely screwed at work the last like 2 weeks, and we just got back from a mini vacation, and it was really, really nice. We had a really nice time. And today's her first day back, and she's just getting absolutely fucking murdered from the stupidest of things. It's really frustrating to watch what's happening. But there's also not a whole lot I can do. I'm gonna remove all this again. Control zoning a little bit more, so I think I'm gonna platter these in. I want to be frustrated because we had plans for tonight, but I also need to keep in mind, like, we just got back from vacation. We had a lot of family time together, and she does have responsibilities at work that are important, and yeah, it's just annoying that it seems like this shit always happens to her. But when you are a dedicated employee, as I know most of the people watching this stream right now are, we all deal with this, and we all know what it's like to be the only somewhat reliable person in your place of employment, and it ends up screwing you more than it does the business that you work in. Oh, that is so close to fitting. But we'll just deal with that instead. Okay, now let's go through, reduce that, put that here, and go through and just spam this around here. Loki gets it. Loki gets it. You know, that's exactly what you do, man. That's what I did. it's kind of funny to think about it. Like, I mention a lot, like my job, especially whenever, you know, we're just kind of bullshitting, is it tends to be less glamorous than it's ever made out to be. But this is one of those times, man, where I don't miss retail at all. No part of me misses it, because dealing with that kind of stuff, the problem is, I as a person and someone who did a lot in the way of management, and even, you know, coming down to owning the businesses, I have zero patience for bullshit, and a lot of what she's dealing with right now is employees that are not necessarily doing their part, if that makes sense, if that rings true. You know what I mean? Like, it's I can understand if you're sick. I get it. You're not sick every week. You know what I mean? Does that make sense? Like, there's one individual that she's dealing with right now that there is always an excuse. Always an excuse. No, not every week on the same day, but it is once a week. It is once a week. She has something. And I don't want to get too deep into it, because, you know, it's frankly, firstly, it's not my problem, but second, it's you know, if it is legitimate, and it very well may be, it just doesn't feel like it. If it is legitimate, then it's like, it's not good. You know what I mean? It's not a good situation. I am overseeing my wife get fucked on because she's the only one who can show up for work. You know, does that make sense? Right, and I don't know. And that's, Loki, that's the other thing, man. Like, so I worked in oh god, this was years ago, but I worked in a call center for a long enough time that it was you got those few assholes who had FMLA and were like intrigued by the fact that they were allowed to do this, so would take massive advantage of it and ruin it, because now, like, you know, there people who actually do need FMLA get looked down on because they're being compared to the people who don't need it. It's just frustrating. I kind of like where we are. I kind of like how this looks. Now, we're building this for a police complex, a police headquarters. So let's unlock the police headquarters. My voice, by the way, I don't know if you guys can tell, I am suffering right now. I was at a wedding last night. I catered the wedding. And God, I keep running into this. Catered the wedding, and I was also a guest at the wedding. And the folks who were getting married are the groom is the son of a very, very close friend of mine. I would honestly say that at least at this point in my life, one of the people that I'm closest to. And they are not in a super great financial place, and I have lived that life, so I wanted to try and help. So, you know, we gave him a pretty decent deal on the catering. I tried to do what I could to help at the actual wedding. I didn't go to the ceremony. In fact, went to the reception location to try and get things set up, and they couldn't afford a DJ, because the DJ options that were out there were like ridiculously expensive. That doesn't look like anything at all that's good. So I told them that I wasn't gonna DJ. I'm not a DJ. I'm not good at it. Like, I don't have the software to do it. I can't do that. But what I can do, if it's something that they were interested in, is I would press play on Spotify. Like, if you wanted me to do Spotify for you, I could do that. Here is a playlist. Put in a bunch of music that you really like, and we'll make sure that it gets played. So that's what I did. I worked yesterday. I got up, my alarm went off at 6:40 in the morning. I was at the kitchen by about 7:15. No, that's a lie. I stopped for breakfast, and that place opened at 8. So I was probably at the kitchen by 8 o'clock, 8:15. And did not leave that hall, because the kitchen was inside of the hall. We cooked there. Until I finally left around 10 o'clock. My voice, because it was a wedding too, like we were having a good time, shot, dude. It is shot. I think the Southwest is going to be the answer here. I just don't love this particular asset. But that tells me something right there. Let's make this particular, and we can remove this. Let's make this roadway work for the police station. So this block is sort of dedicated to it. Like that. We'll face it away so that it's here, and with a little bit of space so that we can do some landscaping in between. And now that should give rear access too, I think. And that will allow us to add a helicopter. Okay. Oop. DJJ effect. So it's funny that you say that. That's Loki. That's kind of how my name originated, my handle. I dated a girl in high school. I was a sophomore. She was a senior and had graduated. And the person she roomed with in college was a DJ at the college radio station. And her call sign was, her nickname was Raven. And her call sign was the Raven Effect. And it may have, her actual name may have been Raven. I don't know. This was like fucking 20 years ago, more than 20 years ago. 23 years ago. And I was like, man, I really like the ring to that. And ended up that the JA Effect came from it. I directly stole it because I'm a thief and completely unoriginal. So that's kind of where the name originated from, was from a DJ. A radio DJ, but a DJ nonetheless. Really hate that there's like nothing I can do in this particular like location at all. I guess I'm just gonna curve this road in, bring it out as far as I can without interfering, and then bring this in like this, and then try and just curve it in like that, I guess. Okay, I like that. I like that. Now, around this, we need to do a plethora of things. I want to have some business right on the other side here, so we're going to do some mixed density residential. I want it to be southwest so it matches the aesthetic. And then I want to do some medium density business right here. And then commercial right on the other side here. And I want this to be low density with parking. Just like that. Over here, I want more medium density housing. But we can actually add high density. I don't have any demand for it, but that's okay. We'll toss some in here. And then some medium density to vary up the designs. And some more southwestern. Inside of here, since we're not getting anything right here, because there's a single line, let's do a row home. That should, yeah, I was gonna say that should spawn in right away. And I think we're gonna do the same thing right here. But what I need to do is actually, I need to adjust our, actually, I might be able to do it with platter. Northeastern U.S. medium density row housing. So I did have the electric slide. We did not do prime rib. That was not in their budget. That was not in their budget at all. But we did do the electric slide. The way that I figured it out, like, I didn't want to have to sit there and manage a DJ setup all night. Firstly, I don't know how to do that. Like, I didn't want to learn. That's not, I have too many jobs as it is. I didn't need to turn DJing into another one. But I wanted to help as much as I could, so I basically took I took Spotify and was like, I'm going to use this and will give you a playlist. And then all you need to do on that playlist is add songs you want to hear. And I'll take care of it from there. They did. It worked out really, really nicely. They added most of the songs that they needed to add, like those staples. The electric slide is a great example of one that needs to be in there. But there were others that were in a similar situation. You know, the what's the other one? The cha-cha, is it the cha-cha slide? Is that what it is? You can't have a what I would consider to be a low ethnic diversity crowd without having Cotton Eye Joe. So that was there. Yeah, I mean, it was a lot of fun. We had a really good time. It was a nice wedding. Everybody had a good time. The bride and groom especially were I think pretty happy with the turnout of people, and I like this maybe. Though that fits perfectly right there. I like it. In. Yes, indeed, a classic. It was a lot of fun though. I mean, we had a really good time. I think everybody did. And I don't like weddings. I really don't. I don't like going to weddings. I am not very sociable. I don't know if you guys get that. Those of you that know me, I don't know if you knew I'm not really all that interested in talking to people, but I am not. I don't enjoy social gatherings unless it's like, I'm good for like 10 people, and beyond 10, I'm kind of like, I really don't want to be here anymore. Could we leave? And that's essentially where I was. That's where I was at the end. I try my best to have a good time at those kind of things, but by the end of it, my social battery runs out at a rather rapid pace. No, that's not it, but I'll take it. It looks like double-sided tape. What is this? Yeah, it's double-sided. I will take it. I'll use it. Thanks. Here, put that back on my workbench, please. Thank you. Okay, we need something medium density here, because that's going to spawn in right away. We definitely have a decent amount of demand for that. So I just did Eastern European. Let's do, yeah, we should be able to fit one in here. Can I do, yeah. That. And then this needs to be southwest. Oh, damn. Okay, hold on. That ain't gonna work. Damn it, I need something. That is in this category, 3 units deep. And that's the answer. I'm gonna knock this down. I'm gonna add a pathway that connects these. Coming right back this way. But I'm going to remove that crosswalk, I think. I want USA Northeast row. And then we'll just finish those off like that. And I was really hoping I could fit one more in there. I think I can if I do some move it magic. I like where we're headed here. So I want some just low density commercial right along here. But I don't love how it's going to line up, so I'm going to place it with platter as well. let that work out, and then we're going to start going in back here. I do have space for, this was all meant to be low-density housing, so we can do that. Let's see. What am I looking for here? Let's do this one. I swear you guys have come down here more whenever I've been streaming than you have. I honestly don't know. They're probably moms, but they were on the on the table, right? Yeah, I don't think they're mine, but I'm not 100% certain. We'll need to just ask Mom whenever she gets home. Can't fit any more in there, unfortunately. Add some parking. Sense. And that's kind of going to be the differentiator in terms of our density switch. Okay. I mean, this has been a fairly substantial increase in population already, and we're not done. So let's add in some additional. I want this to be high density. And I think I want these Chinese assets to be the one. Those are going to be fairly tall buildings. Maybe not. What do we have for UK? What does that look like? I like that. I dig it. Okay, perfect. Throw in some other one right here. And let me dezone this. Grab our tool. Turn off zoning, which will spawn this in. And then in between here, we'll do 2 row homes. Like that. Okay. And then inside here, I think some medium density. Do some things right here too. I think what I'm going to do is turn zoning off here so that we have it right here. And that's all urban promenade, so it's going to have those nice grass tops. That building right there might be a little out of scope. Is that the Chinese? Is that Chinese? That's just low rent. Is that standard low rent? That is standard low rent housing. Or just standard high density. I think I've made it standard high density. That's way too big. It's way too big. Damn. See what that spawns in. When it spawns in. Okay, I want some medium density housing right in here. I think I'm going to use the US here. That really not fitting for some reason? That doesn't make good sense to me. The thing is, I would rather sacrifice these homes and get it in there. Yeah, definitely would rather that. The electric slide? Really? Oh, well, I mean, that very well may be an American thing. Not gonna lie. That is a classic American wedding song. Let's fill that in. Let's take that whole thing in there. Okay, I like the expansion. I like where we're headed. Let's take a look at our city voice. So I am not against building a new hospital. But I think it needs to be a low, like a medical clinic rather than a hospital. So let's do that. This will give us 6 more ambulances, which is legitimately overkill. But they want an actual hospital. No, that's done. And we need to consider doing more industrial, it looks like. So let's go over here and work a little bit more on our industrial park. I just want to be cognizant of the industry I'm adding here is all. Really don't want fucking smokestacks and shit. I feel like that's not going to be, and I don't think it's going to be something I can avoid. Now I need to add in some low rent housing. I can't keep avoiding this. to start looking at how we're going to get parking in places and connect all of it. And when I'm looking here, I have a way to get it in here, but I'm going to have to change this and this to do it, because it's 3 units wide. I can take it to right here and then convert this to a regular alleyway to bring it all the way back here, and then grab that parking lot and put it there. I want northeastern row. 4 of those. Oh, we need, I'm so glad I saw that. We need an elementary school over here. So because this is growing in density, I think we could probably fit a different elementary school inside. Yeah, we are hurting. We have no availability. I guess we have the La Bamba song. Yeah, I mean we have that too. We've that's somewhat prominent in our weddings around. Yeah. We need a fairly large capacity here. I wonder if we don't do the U.S. Southwest and right in here. Oh, look at that. I can fit it here. With basically removing what is that, 5 houses? That seems to be a no-brainer. Did that actually connect that net lane? Excuse me, that net lane as well? Doesn't look like it did. So if we do an invisible car path, it's not quite able to connect in. It doesn't look like. Okay, well, we're gonna have to live with that not working. That's all. There is another 2 connections right here. Sucks, but I do think I'm gonna have to sacrifice that house right there. That has helped considerably. Okay, good. Good. I think over here we can do some, maybe we'll do some Southwest row homes. Kind of match the aesthetic that's over here. And then... We're going to be able to do parking right here as well. Okay, good. Now, I haven't looked up. How bad is traffic, you think? Yeah, that's about as bad as I was expecting it to be honest. God, I hate this. Now, people just aren't even using this side, which is exactly what I was hoping for. We can remove that. I think we're experiencing the same thing right here. All right. While we're waiting for that to fill in, let's go ahead and look at bike lanes. I don't really want to remove that, actually. Damn it. I wonder if we could get underneath. I wonder if we can get under the road quick enough. Oh, we can. I'm doing that. This bridge pisses me off. There. I like that. I like that way better. Like, an insane amount better. Okay, now we can add in bike lanes to the sides of the road. Needs to make sense, so I'm trying to be cognizant of where I'm placing these. Giving appropriate access to the community, while trying my damnedest to keep it off of the arterials. Okay, I like that. That reestablishes most of our connectivity. Then I'm going to add grass along here, the length of it, on both sides. Here too. So that we force people to use our parking structures. Let me grab some trees. Let's do... I think we're doing our linden, and I think we do it at that height. Let me go down here and just verify what it looks like. No, it's the next one up. We are doing full-grown trees. Okay. All right. Looking good. Oh, not that. I didn't want to do that. Damn. Hey guys, what do we think about the audio? Is my mic okay? Does my does the game sound work? Is the volumes okay? Or like I did my damnedest to try and figure out the levels before I started, but I didn't have a ton of time to really work on the finer details. Does everything sound okay? Would you say that I sound as good as I did the last time? Would be the way to say it. The last time you were in stream, do I sound... Balance seems okay? Okay. So I am much happier with what I have now. It's just about figuring out the differences. I'm an audio guy at heart. I've always been doing something with sound systems and mostly live sound, as long as I've really been a thing. I think you sound better. Just not used to it. Which is that's what's funny about this, is that it's supposed to make me sound better. I'm very surprised at how much better it allegedly was supposed to make me sound. And I mean, if you guys are saying I actually am sounding better, that's great. The difference in, like I said, I think if you're in the Discord, you know, like, I have so much more room for activities on my desk. I don't know what to do with it all. Like, this entire section of my desk, like, legitimately, I mean, this is the device. This is what my soundboard was. You know, like, it's the size of my chest. I went from that to a device that is the size of this. This now operates my sound. So the difference in size, you know what I mean? Like, it's just wild. It's wild. It's a massive change. It's a huge shift. And it's all software-based audio processing. So it's all done. So I got the Elgato Wave XLR Pro. And it is a in fact, I'll pull it up here. I was eyeing it up for like a week and a half. So it's this. And it's designed specifically for content creators, and it is legitimately that size compared to a Stream Deck Pro. I mean, it's like that big. It's wild. And the upside to it is it's all doing all the audio processing is done digitally on board, and it's saved on the hardware. So as long as the device has power, it doesn't matter if my stream PC is turned on, it will still work. But the software is what really, really makes a big difference. And it gives me basically more granular control over my streaming PC, my headphones. Like, one of the things I always struggled with, and one of the reasons I never wore my headphones when I was streaming cities, is I wanted to have music, but having it at the level that was required while also maintaining a decent volume for like my transitions, and I could never get the balance right. Now I have an individual output, an individual mix for my headphones versus what you guys hear. So if I don't want to have music in my headphones but still want you guys to hear it, I can have that. If I want to have music but don't want you guys to hear it, I can have that. So like, with the click of a button, you're hearing Spotify right now. If I add in a dedicated Spotify resource, now you guys don't have it. It's still in my ear. It's still there for me. Now, one thing I need to change, the reason I haven't done it yet is there's a twofold thing. I need to... So I don't believe that and I have to do a little bit more research. I don't believe there is a way currently to add in a noise gate to an individual source. What I would like to do is have and I can do this, have a stream mix, have a VOD mix, and have an earphone mix, so that this and what you're seeing live are both different from what I have in my VOD, which will stop copyright strikes. But that's going to take a little more. This is the Elgato Wave XLR Pro. And this is, in my line of work, this is what we like to call a stupid purchase. I guess where I was at mentally is I was so goddamn sick of dealing with the audio problems that I was having that it finally just became overwhelming and frustrating to the point where I'm like, you know what, the hell with this, I'm just gonna buy it. And that's exactly what happened. I just bought it. And I'm not, so far, I don't regret it at all. Having set this thing up, again, if you're, can you set that up at OBS? You can. And this makes it a little bit easier to do because it can separate and dedicate mixes easier. It helps with that process. It's like legitimately 3 clicks. But yeah, as long as you're putting out in OBS, you can do, oh, where the hell is that? It is in Files, Settings, Output, I believe. Yeah, Output, and then you can change it. Is it audio? Hold on. The other kicker is I don't think you can change it through Restream. Although I haven't looked into that either. I'm still kind of learning. Right now, I'm just, like, the only place I'm getting flagged is on YouTube. YouTube flags me just about every time I play for a copyrighted song, because I start off with AC/DC. If I didn't start off with AC/DC, I would be fine, but I do. So I'm not willing to change that either. Because that's like one of my favorite parts of the stream. So I just have to find a way around it, and currently I just go in and manually remove the songs once it gets flagged. That's not an ideal situation. I just want to fix it. It does away with the mixer entirely. The mixer still exists, it's just now software on my computer. And again, there's a bunch of like audio effects that are in here that make my voice sound better, and it sounds like, based on what you guys are saying, that's been effective, which is nice. That's a very a big bonus for me. If I also sound better and it makes my life easier, that seems like a pretty substantial win. Oh, what is this? Close race ends for Robinson. Robinson will take the mayoral seat after a narrow victory in the polls. Stephen Warwick conceded shortly after counting concluded. Turnout reached 100% of eligible voters. Jonathan Robinson was 55 of the Green Future movement, secured 43% of the votes cast. Kevin Sharp finished third with 22%. The new mayor will be sworn in at the next council meeting. All right, so we will see what that does for us. I think I'm going to take that hit and change it so that I have parking in here. Kind of just takes up more space. And I want this to be different. In fact, what I'm going to do, I'm going to grab this specific building and move it down over here to give some variance. And with those two things spawning in, I'm going to grab and put in a few southwestern row homes. Beauteous. Beauteous. Very beauteous. Very, very beauteous. Okay, where is this zoning occurring? Okay, it is occurring in the place that I want it to be. I want this to be mixed use, I think, actually. Northeastern mixed use. Now, our city has filled in what I would like to say is spectacularly. Do a few more offices in here since we're not getting a bunch of commercial desire. But I think we might be able to adjust that as well by lowering taxes. Where's our tax rate? Oh, dude, it's huge. Let's reduce this as well. We can actually reduce we can drop taxes for basically damn near everybody. We'll keep industry fairly high and lower the rest. This all should be commercial as well, right? Yeah, that's all commercial. And that is basically our entire area here completely redeveloped, which is great. Happy with it. I would like to see... some more commercial demand, but I think that I am going... God damn it, that is fucking huge. I want it to be high density, but I'm not like... I don't want it to be 7 foot tall. 700 feet tall, even. All right, I think we're going to live with that. What kind of height are we getting here? Yeah, we're going to live with that one, I think. It's a lot of people we just put out of a home, though. See if we can do something about that with some higher density. In fact, you know what? I know what I can do. Let me grab the low rent, the standard low rent housing. And if I do these, that will give us a bunch of high density housing. That those people can move right into. Move that. Yes. Yes. What's happening here? There's no way we're out of power. Oh, we're seeing a power overload. Okay. All right, that's an easy fix. Very easy. We'll come up here. Right off of here. And we'll grab a transformer station. Small should actually do it. Where's that power come in at? It locks in right here. So let's continue this down. Now that should give us another entryway point for our power, which will solve the issue. It reduces the bottleneck. We'll just have to keep an eye on this, make sure that it is not it doesn't get blown up in terms of usage, but that should solve that problem. Now, problems that the city's seeing at the moment is death care related. So we don't have hearses being sent out at all, hardly. So let's go ahead and add in a crematorium down here. Oh, that's cool. I didn't even know we got a new cemetery. Excellent. I like it. Now, how many hearses does that give us? It gives us 4 more. See if that helps a little bit. Yeah, I'm really happy with it. The other thing that I added a different mic arm. So normally it would have been over here. The thing is, I added a change in over here because I added a new key light. So this light also now controllable from my Stream Deck. The microphone was ultimately kind of in the way. I'm not super happy with the positioning of the lights right now, to be completely honest with you. I have this guy, which I actually think needs to be a little bit brighter, over here. I like the lighting that it is creating. Don't get me wrong. I'm happy with all of that. And I need to start working on environmental lighting. It just adds stuff to the background that makes it look a little more interesting. My TV would be a great thing to turn on, but the mic arm was getting in the way of this key light, was creating a shadow on my face, didn't like it. And I've been looking at something that was low profile anyway, so I got a low profile mic arm that sits, it sits like right here. So the key to this and the upside to it is I can now also, you should be able to hear me more consistently and more clearly because I'm not needing to speak right here for my voice to be directly into the microphone. I'm speaking right into the microphone because it's underneath my monitor. So that's a big change. And another reason why I eventually want to get I want to get the Shure, one of two. It's either going to be the SMB7. I think it's actually the SMB7B. Is what I was looking at. Why is that only $175? That's really good. Why is that only $175? Interesting. I don't want to buy that because that doesn't seem legit. Anyway, the SM7B is this guy. So I want to get this. Again, the price tag is the problem. $500 is just a lot of money for a microphone, but it will make my voice sound as good as it can get. And one of the projects I want to start in the future, I'm not sure how I want to do it yet and how I can do it and make it make sense, is I want to start a podcast. I want to do a Disney podcast, something that's specifically about Disney World. And I have enough, from a travel agent perspective, I have enough knowledge that I can make that happen and make it interesting and talk about stuff. Even if I do it once a week is not feasible. There's just not enough news for me to talk about. But if I did it once every 2 weeks or once a month, I think that I could probably make that happen. And I think me personally, I think it would be a lot of fun if I did that. So eventually I want something that I can use to podcast, and that's 7. So Diddley, that's the other one. The MV7 is what I was looking at for legitimately. I might actually get this because it's a little more reasonable in terms of price. $299, I've seen it for way cheaper. I'm pretty sure it's available on Amazon for cheaper. No, it's $199. Yeah, no, that's it. Yeah, well, $199. Yeah, so it is cheaper than $299. It's this price. That's the 7 Plus. What's the difference between the 7 Plus? It's the 7 Plus. Oh, it's USB-C. I don't need that. I only need XLR because I have XLR. So it's $199 is what that would cost. The 7B is the MV7A is what I was looking at, or the MV7 is just the MV7X, the MV7X. So this is the actual mic that I was looking at. Here's the kicker. I currently have this. And I like it. I like it a lot. I've been using this for almost as long as I've been streaming. I love Audio-Technica. They are by far my favorite brand of audio equipment. They're dependable, reliable, durable, and it's just, I love it. And I'm going to have a hard time moving away from it. But I also know that the Shure dynamic microphones are really something else. Yeah, no, I'm going to get the X. So the MV7X is the XLR version of that. Yeah, it is. I don't want to open that. Because that's going to show stuff that I don't want to show because it's Amazon. But yeah, it is a USB or an XLR mic. Let me see if I can. Yeah, so this is the back of that. So that would be okay. I'd be okay with that. $200 is a little outside of my price range right now, considering how much money I've spent on my setup in the last 3 weeks. I don't want to change my microphone whenever I have one that works great. I have no complaints with this mic at all. I really love it. In fact, I'm gonna miss it. But the kicker is too, my microphone is gonna have to move positions. And it's gonna need to come up here. To like right here. And I don't know that I'm ready for that either, to move it to, like, you can't see it, but it's sitting right here. It needs to be this far away from my, I don't know that I'm really looking forward to that. That's a big change, and one that I'm not necessarily super thrilled about, because it's going to be so close to my mouth. But if a podcast is in the cards, then it's going to be a necessary change. And it's like I said, this one I would probably be able to start with this, but I want to start exploring that sometime soon. So, where the hell are you coming from? Oh, all the way over there. No, that makes sense. I'm really happy with how this is looking, guys. I need to get a water though, because I'm out of this, and my throat's fucked up. So give me a second. I'm gonna grab a bottle of water. Maybe take an Excedrin to try and wrap this up a little bit. Yeah, give me 1 second. We've got about another hour-ish left in the stream, so we'll go from there. Oh, okay. I was like, what the fuck is that? Anyway, give me a second. Let me grab a bottle of. Do I have a bottle of water? I thought I brought one over, but I don't see it. Let me grab that. Grab some Excedrin. I'll be right back. Yeah, just chill for a minute. Gosh, that turned into like a whole thing. Hold on. Let me look at that photo. Hold on. Why can't I open that link? Oh, there we go. Toner. I don't know that I've heard of that. Yeah, that's not bad. Yeah, it's really good ratings. Okay. All right, so let's figure out our stuff here. So this is bike parking, right? Yeah, we do need to add in bike parking because we removed a bunch of it. So let's go ahead and go through and just add in some bike parking along our paths over here. Okay, now we need a spot for this because I want to use it. I want right here. That looks terrible. Let's rock with that, though. Something else we need to think about is park. I don't think I've put any parks in here at all. And then we're going to have to rework our... our transportation lines as well. That's got to be a priority. Okay. So bike parking, good. Mail coverage is now an issue, so let's grab up on some mailboxes and see where our coverage issues lie. Mostly over here, so 1 or 2 should solve this issue. Though we do need to consider maybe we have our, I was going to say we added that big post office. Good. Okay, good. That's great. So mail coverage is a thing. So we'll see if adding in these 2 boxes. Ooh, it won't finish it, I bet. Now, it might be worth adding in another post office. How big is this building? Oh, that's fucking perfect. This is the downside to using the block structure that I do. is a lot of these buildings are set up to be a 6x6. We are not. That would be really nice, though. Let's add a post office over here. Where do we have space that it would fit? I'm looking right here. There's empty green space. Right here, there's empty green space. A little bit of space right in here. Yeah, that's a fairly big building. Right here. I like it. And we're going to preemptively add in the additional storage extension. That should help a little bit. And I think we might want to add another one. Let's do a post office over here. So I added these houses a little while back. I don't think I did this on stream. They're just rural houses, and they're along this highway. Because it is something that you see. In fact, there's space for a couple more. Like around my house, this is a thing that you absolutely see all the time, where houses are developed right along a highway, especially a rural highway like this. So I wonder if we could do like a post office right in here. Doesn't really make much sense out here, though. Where would it be developed? I would imagine it would probably be over here by the university. What's our topography look like right here? Good enough that I can throw one in. And I'll tell you what, that building kind of matches right up. Yeah, here it is. That kind of fits a little bit. See, that to me makes me think I want to go right here with it. It looks like it's part of the university, but would provide some pretty significant upgrades. I like that. It fits right in, man. That's great. That should get us, yeah, it's more than enough now. Okay, so that's landfill, I think, right? Yeah, so I'm going to edit this and remove the landfill. Okay, yeah, remove the landfill, remove the shelter. I don't need either of those. Mail is still a problem, but I'm wondering if that will fix as we just kind of go along. Right now, like there are no vehicles in use, which is also not great. We'll see how that works. We'll see if maybe that'll solve the problem. I don't know. All right, next up, I want to start worrying about another residential development. And I think I want to do something over here. Or over here. Now, I foresee our port probably being right here. Most likely. The problem is how big of a drop-off that is. That's a lot. Now, if we did something... What does that actually look like? We have the points. Let's go ahead and unlock... Not that. Let's unlock... water transportation, which will get us our key roads. Yeah, that's still really, really low. But it goes up, right? I think it's just a matter of us fixing it, though. And we have a highway that kind of goes through right here, so let's acquire these blocks. Let's start with those 6. That's 1 million. And let's develop out this island a little bit, actually. It sucks that that's split into 2 more. And that's another 700,000, but let's do that. So now we have this island over here, right? And we need to have it make sense from the perspective of how the topography is kind of laid out. But we have a nice long shoreline right here. So I think if we do that, then we have another nice long shoreline right here. We'll build that in there. And then if we go out this way, it's our first arterial. This is temporary. I'm going to remove this road. There we go. Okay, so now I want to do something a little bit unique. I just don't know how I want to do it quite yet. This would actually make a great spot for it. At least unique in how I normally do things. Let's make this a couplet with 3-unit separation. And to be more towards the center. And then let's curve this in and meet up with this squarely, like that. Although actually, now that I'm looking at that, that is not square at all. So let's remove this. And we'll just come up straight. Like that. I want to make sure that this makes sense. Give me a sec. Just want to make sure that the logistics of this are correct. like that. This area right here sucks. Hate to shorten the blocks, but that's what we're gonna have to do here. Because I'm kind of pot committed on that length now. I think. So where would the half block be? Right here. I can live with that, I think. So this is obviously going to be an arterial. Or a collector, anyway. I don't know where it's going to go from there, but that's got to be a collector. Or it'll be the arterial that matches up right here. Yeah, no, that's an this is an arterial, 100%. So arterial, arterial, arterial. And it all kind of matches up right in here, but right here is where I want the... Hold on. I want this to be the harbor. So let's stop it right here. You know, I was thinking lately on how the GTA 5 map makes sense when you 100%. I actually did this with Ruby. 'Cause she asked me one time, she's like, how does Los Santos stack up? Now, again, I'm not a city planner. You know what I mean? Like, I don't, all I've learned is what I've gotten from here. But, so you have your freeways, right? Which are the highways. From the highways, you have your major arterials. So the arterials are what connect to the highways. So in this case, you'd have Haywick into Popular down to El Rancho. You would have Strawberry, which is actually what right here. Yeah, Strawberry right here. Innocence is technically an arterial as well. But anywhere where it connects to the highway is considered an arterial. So, yeah, it follows in exactly to typical roadway hierarchy with legitimate city planning aspects. And the reason that is it's designed around Los Angeles. Like, that's just, you don't have a choice. If you're doing it around LA, LA is city planned. So yeah, it's very much legitimate. Very much legitimate. And even the housing plans like around Mirror Park are designed exactly how they would be in real life, going around the natural features that are existing and trying to keep them within the bounds of the terrain. Yeah. Very much you could tell that it was, that they put a lot of care and effort into how it was designed. Look, they want me to address the homelessness crisis. Good timing. That's exactly what we are about to do. I want to be careful here. I don't want this to connect in, because this is going to, I'm going to develop this part of it into an actual like residential community. I like where we're at here. Let's grab our medium density road, and then we're gonna have to do a little bit of terraforming here to probably make this work. Okay, so this is kind of where we want to be, and then we need to slowly fade up towards the... Although, another way to do this is to move it into place. But that looks a little ridiculous, huh? I think right there is very reasonable. Look at that. Where the hell is that? Is that something I have to add in? Oh, there it is. Okay. I think we need to actually almost go all the way back to here with this, which means I'm probably going to have to rebuild a couple of our... roads out here too. That's a pretty significant drop off right there. Okay, let's do a medium port road. Yeah, I like that. Here's what I don't love right now, though. I wonder if I can bring this up any more and not, like, be super ridiculous with the height. Where is my maximum, I guess is what I'm saying. Right there is about as far as I think I can get it with reasonable effectiveness. I only brought it up like 1.5 meters. It lowered it. It lowered it. It lowered it. It made it lower. Fuck. Okay, hold on. Right there is where I can do it, I think. Did that bring it all up? Fuck. Yeah, it didn't move it. Hold on. I'm gonna redo all this long. I jacked this up a little bit, I think. Be honest, I want it to be a little higher than this. Because coming down off of this is going to be pretty substantial. I need more room. So what I want to do now is grab this height and just bring this straight out. Create like a natural pier right here. Just reclaim some of that land. And we'll create a 90-degree angle. And the goal here is to make sure that we're not decreasing or increasing height, basically at all. We want to keep it as level as we can. Yes, okay. Okay. Interesting. Yeah, I like that better. You can see it did some fucking weird stuff right here, and that's because I am not using the correct road. I don't know what I want, and I don't like it. Everything I've done so far in this, I haven't liked. There should be a dock. 2-lane, yeah, there, that's it. That's the one. I don't like it. I don't like it. Now this I need to convert this to a regular road. And I think the way we'll do this is we're going to separate it from right here. Okay, and then we should be able to just curve that right in. Okay. Cool. I think I can live with that. Now the question is, how close do we get to this? And I'm thinking we go no more than right there, so that we have the approximate size of our port. We have total zoning freedom. That should give us, I think I'm okay with that. I think I can live with that. And we can come to a maximum of right there. That's straight now. Yeah, it is okay. Okay, I'm happy with that, I think. Now, we need to make some sacrifices on one of these streets. I think it's going to be this one, because I don't want all of these guys connecting directly into that road. Now, this is all going to be industrial. Now, I want to have a bit of a buffer. In fact, so much so I think I'm going to actually remove everything from right there on. This can be our industry. This can be industry. And the rest of this I need to be a mixture of commercial and office. And the goal is to have a decent little buffer between the industry section that we're going to have right there and the residential that will start right about here. Now, we need to address our water, which, I mean, it's fairly far away, so I would expect something like this development to probably have its own water supply. Its own water source. So I'm going to add that. I'm thinking right here, this kind of makes the most sense. So we'll add a water pumping station off of this coast. And add a service road to get to it. And now we can use that to add in our... Oh, look at that. There's already water and sewage under the road. Now I'm curious if that will actually connect to our main. It will. That will connect right to our main everythings. That might cover sewage too. I would rather not build another sewage plant if I can avoid it. Let's see if that does it. We also have power right here. So a power substation. One transformer station should do it right here. Connect it right in. And that should add in the electricity we need as well. Maybe not. Why the hell not? Okay, there we go. Now we're good. Now we're good. Okay. So let's start zoning in some residential, because one of the things that we needed to work on was they wanted us to address the homelessness issue, so we can fix that. And I think I want this to be the 1900s, Midwest residential 1900s homes. Just be cheap single-family homes that people could buy. And you would expect this kind of community to be fairly dense in terms of even the low-density residential. Like you would think that it's going to be all pretty tight-knit. So I'm envisioning this to be more of our industrial center. The heavy industry, the pollution-inducing industry. Right into it. And then these houses that we're building right now are going to be fairly sizable. When we get back into the city, we're going to drop back down to the 1-unit house size, and that's what those will be primarily zoned in as. 1 unit, 4 units deep. Or we may even switch to the Chicago style housing and do that mixed in with in fact, we are going to do that because the Chicago style housing is 5 units deep. All of those have rear exits though, so we'll have to add in an alleyway, which is not a big deal. It's specifically why I like doing the 227 by 114 zoning size. It supports a 5-unit deep home with an alleyway in between. Now there's some room for expansion right here, so I'm going to stop and do another road. We'll just do one side. all the way up to here. And then bring that right in like that. And that gives us some additional housing plots that we can use. And actually, I want to throw a roundabout in here. So let's consider that whenever we're zoning or putting our road in. I don't want it to affect any of the other houses we're putting in the area. There we go. I like it. I like it. Okay. So we're going to keep going with the 2-unit deep all through this, kind of like this area right here. Basically on the inside of this road. Now we are going to go back into the city, do some, that's going to be a large majority of low density or like medium density, and then low rent houses. I'm not going to do a bunch of high density homes, like the towers and stuff like that. I'm trying to keep that good. It's going to be fairly small. I want Greenwood City to be the height. Now, we're going to have a bunch of additional space right here. So I want to try and get in another row. I'm not going to connect it. I'm going to just cul-de-sac it off. And it should double our total home count in here. Just making that one small change. I wonder why that broke that house. It's weird. Yeah, we're gonna have to accept that, I think. Take the smaller plots for the additionals. Keep away from that main road where we're likely going to have a decent amount of commercial or office space. Tell you what, this is going to drastically increase our population. I mean, not nearly as much as the city we're about to build or the town we're about to build. Which, by the way, we are going to need a name for, lest we forget. If anybody has any good naming suggestions, I'll take those in the chat. right here, this road, I think, is where I'm going to stop. Because the grid itself kind of takes over from here. So these are all going to be, I'm going to go through and control my zoning using the zoning tool. And I want to focus on these roads here where I can, eliminating all of these side roads like I normally do, so that the houses are all facing the same direction. I'm probably going to anarchy that one in so that I know it's not gonna zone in on that road, because that would drive me a little insane. And then I don't want any zoning right there, nor do I want it on the inside of these roads. Hello? What do you mean? Okay, there we go. TikTok decided that I wasn't actually streaming, I guess. So. Yeah, I think I'm good with that. Now let's get some additional zoning in. So out towards the back here is where I want the Midwestern, and I want this to be the single, the singles. Or no, we were going to do Chicago. Let's do Chicago, which are 5 units deep. 5 units deep. Yep. Okay. And these right here, that's where it'll have to stop. Now, again, these, I believe, if I'm not mistaken, actually, let's remove this zoning right here. And this zoning right here. To allow for the commercial activity that's going to be on our main streets there. And then inside of here, this is where we're going to see some row homes. There's a little bit of higher density. And we're going to do the same on Willowbrook. And then stopping that quickly, let me add in some medium density residential. Kind of offset a little bit of what we're getting in there as well. And then for commercial, we are getting some commercial demand again, which is fantastic. Along this road, the Eastgate Street, and in fact, I'm gonna do this. I like the name Eastgate. No, I don't, because I want it to be east and west. Which leads into the, I guess it's not really the bay, but whatever. So once those zone in, we'll be able to figure out what exactly we need to do. And again, the closer we get to this, the more density I want to have. So this is where we're going to start getting into our mixed use. And I want it to be northeastern. I want it to feel very industrial and old. But we still also have to have office space, so. All right, we'll see what that does for us. I do think we need some additional low-rent housing in here, so I'm going to throw some low rent, which will satisfy some high-density need. And while we're doing that, let's add in some parking so we know we have it. Because high density and medium density generally do not have parking attached, whereas the row homes generally do. The low density housing generally does. Yeah, so that does have rear exits. There's garages, so those will all connect. That'll be really, really nice. And then I do have another zoning category that I don't believe I've actually used, and this is the Chicago medium density row homes, which I believe are also 5 units deep. So we'll add a couple of those in. I need to check these though. Actually, let me remove those back out. Let's put them back here. And see what we can zone in. I am pretty sure that these are also 5 units deep. So we'll be able to tell just from that. All right, while that's zoning in, let's go ahead and focus in on our port. Now this is very early. We're just going to kind of plant some things to get stuff moving. Ooh, I just saw that. Wow, okay, hold on. Let's, let me go back into, turn off topography so I can see. This is easy to fix by changing the key wall and making a swap while also locking in. That should ground it. It doesn't love that. Wonder if I can anarchy it in. Yeah, I can. All right, perfect. And then I want to grab all of this. And we're going to control H to this row, which will bring it all up so it's all level. And then we will grab our smoothing tool and smooth down. And then I just need to grab and change this to be a key wall on the outside. Like that. And you can see that appears to be sloping downwards. So let's go ahead and do the same thing we just did. We'll grab this, 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 and this, and we're going to control H to this node. Yep, it sure was. Is anything else sloping? No, the rest of it all looks very level. I'm happy with that. Okay, and now we're going to grab this and add in some tank farms. So these are like super, super small. I don't love these things. It'll look way better whenever we get our other storage things together. But for now, this will work. And then just add in a couple of these guys. I turn off anarchy so I can get them in there for sure and know that they're not going to break. Like that. And then we just need our cranes. So we'll do one here. I'd love to be able to get another one in right here. Doesn't look like that's going to be doable, though. It's okay, we can do 3. We can definitely get 3 of them in there. In fact, we can almost get 4. If I can connect those, we'll have 4, and that will still leave room for our passenger terminal, which I plan on putting over here. So hopefully we can do this guy like that, grab our seaway, and ideally connect these guys right up. Of course, that's not going to be a thing, it doesn't look like. Yeah, it doesn't love that. Okay, I think we'll be okay, though. Yeah, I think we're going to be all right. What we'll do to solve this guy up here... Let me back up just a hair. God damn it. There. Is grab it right here and bring it in like this. Now they're all connected. Now, I don't see any other seaway other than right here, which kind of sucks. Didn't realize I was that close, to be honest. That is super tough to get through there. I don't think we'll be able to do it. It's okay, though. The answer is very simple. We're just going to create a new one. What does that say? Underwater. Water damage. Okay. How or why is a mystery to me. Whatever. Hey, Danger, what's up, man? Now this is going to be a project for another time, because I do want to sit and actually spend some time on the port and make it look a little more realistic. We are at the 3.5 hour mark. My wife will be home shortly, so we're going to call it here momentarily. But I like where we're headed so far. I like this little community thing that we have going on here. One small problem I'm seeing now. We need to remove zoning from this bitch. On both sides. Any of these that fronted that way, we are going to remove because it's stupid. Oh, all of those ones did. The entirety of that fucking whole row did. No, that one's right. Fuck. Okay. That should be what we're looking for. Now, so we've completed that project. We're doing okay. That's going, man. It's going. We're kind of just playing around right now. I want to start working on some other stuff, but I don't want to get too deep into this. Like I said, I gotta get ready to get out of here. But we're starting like this little new community. So we have our big city over here, which is looking very, very good. super happy with how that area has kind of came out. And now we're working on this area over here, which is going to be our port and more of an industrial sort of vibe town. So, and I'm looking good on everything there. Perfect. Okay. Yeah, guys, I think that's it. Hey, listen, before I hit the ending button scene, I just want to say I really appreciate everybody who came and hung. We had a decent viewership today, and you guys really helped me figure out what the hell I've got to do with my my mic and my stuff. I like how everything's sounding right now. I got to review it myself, but I love how my desk looks and how much space I have, how much room for activities I have. I'm just in love with it. So I'm really, really happy with that. But yeah, I think that's where we're going to end it.